And we're back.
Back like we ain't never left, baby.
What's up, Yang Gang?
Yes, sir.
What's been going on, Ronnie? How's your week been, man? You hijack any live streams over the week?
Nah, I only do that every once in a while. No, it's been a good week. It's been an interesting week. I feel like it flew by. I literally feel like I was just sitting here talking to you. So, you know what? I can't even complain too much, brother. I can't even complain.
Well, that's good. What do you think about Kamala going to the hospital today?
I actually didn't see that at all. What? Fill me in. What?
Well, apparently she was taken to one of the DC hospitals because, she went to that Democratic thing down there at the border.
Yeah.
Over the past week. Well, a lot of the people there had COVID. So, and now these are people who were supposedly vaccinated that got COVID.
Supposedly,
right. So then she puts out this cryptic tweet today that, basically says the Delta variant is no joke. Go get vaccinated.
So she's got COVID. Well, here's the thing. John made it. He got his he got the time correct this time. But no,
he put up his conspiracy theories for a second.
Here, you know what I've been noticing a lot recently is I've been talking to people and they've been like, but don't worry about it. I'm vaccinated. Don't no worries. You can still get COVID if you're vaccinated. It's just in theory, it shouldn't be as bad for you as it would have been if you were unvaccinated. So I think if she went down there, she still should have been taking every precaution she could have. I don't know if she was maskless or not, but I think everyone down there should have had a mask. And then we've also gotten into, you and I, if the masks even work or not. Most of the people's masks are absolute shit and they don't actually do anything. But I mean, she's got it. I hope she pulls through. I'm not the biggest Kamala fan, but I don't want her to croak because of COVID.
Yeah, no, of course not. We don't want any harm to come to anybody, regardless of what political side of the aisle that you find yourself on.
Exactly. Let me ask you this: do you think it was too early to do this whole mask off unless you're vaccinated thing? Because clearly not everyone was going to be honest if they were vaccinated or not. So do you think it was too early?
I'm kind of torn. I think that a lot of the rules that they institute are pretty arbitrary. Mm-hmm. And when you get into the arbitrary nature, then you start getting into this gray area. And this is why people have lost, they've lost confidence in Fauci. They've lost confidence in a lot of these so-called scientists. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. I look at Canada, and Canada's going crazy up there. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. and I don't want to see that here.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I don't think that I see a lot of people on Twitter who talk about forced vaccinations and things like that. And I'm like, man, what country do you think you live in?
Forced vaccine.
You are not forcing anybody to do anything in this country we don't want to do.
Why do we lose our, man, let me tell you, we lose our fucking minds with certain shit. Forced vaccinations. Think about what do they even realize what they're saying? Forced we're gonna force you to let us stick this in your arm, and you're just gonna trust us that we're injected. What do you mean forced vac? It's just crazy. But it also is weirding people out because I'm getting bombarded by commercials. I'm seeing so many commercials where they're giving away money. They're like, you vaccinated? Come play the vaccination prize. Come play the vaccination lotto. And then they're giving $1,000. We're picking 100 people. One of that 100 may receive 1,000, but you got to be vaccinated. It's and I get why they're trying to do it, but it's weirding people out. People are telling me that's just weird. Just, you don't have to I don't know, do such a weird influence to me to try to get like I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Here's my thing, right? Okay, we all know, and most of the viewers who watch this channel, they know that the government's screwing them over. They know that the government has constantly been doing psyops on people for how many years? This is stuff that they've admitted to. Okay, this is stuff that that are in their papers that they admit to.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna have this same entity, right? And they're all of a sudden they're wanting me to do something, and I know that you've been pulling these things off for years now, and you expect me to believe that you have my best intentions at heart? Nah, I'm not buying it.
Right. Yeah. Suddenly you care. Suddenly you care so much. People have been fighting forever. Different people have been fighting forever for you to do stuff for us, and now suddenly you care. That Big Daddy government cares. You're just looking out for you, just looking out for us. Come on, people aren't buying it, and you lie all the time. And I've come to the conclusion where I'm not mad at anybody or like weirded out by anybody that got vaccinated. I'm not weird or weirded out or judging anybody that didn't get vaccinated. Like I'm at that point, and I'm not going to sit here and try to super convince anybody. I'm not going to sit here and try to talk anybody out of it either. It's just, man.
That's just it. Because I am not by any means an anti-vaxxer, right?
Neither am I.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Yep. What I am is, and you haven't put enough science into it yet. I'm gonna wait till y'all motherfuckers take it, and if y'all are okay, then I'll get it. But there's been a lot of complications that people have been having, and yes, that number is in the minority, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That doesn't mean those people aren't having, complications.
Yeah, everybody always thinks it's like, oh, it's not gonna be me. I had a 70-year-old lady. She was in my place of business, and this was some weeks ago now, and all her friends got vaccinated, and she was deathly afraid of getting vaccinated because she was 70 and she's had complications, and she's like, I haven't had COVID, God bless, knock on wood, but what I am afraid of, if I do get this vaccination, that it will be just enough, or it will put me over the hill, and I'll get sick, and then I got grandchildren, and she's like, what I've been doing has been working, so she didn't want to get vaccinated, but all her friends were like pressuring her and like turning their nose up at her, and this is a 70-year-old woman, so these are also 60, 70-year-old people that are like turning their nose up at her, and it was actually, she actually teared up. It was really sad to see.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that this is just another one of those push button issues that are going to divide people, that are going to put people into camps, and all of a sudden, if you're not getting the vaccination, you must be some magatard, or you've got to be some right-wing extremist because you're not getting the vaccination. When all of us woke people over here on the left, we're pushing. It's just another thing to keep us all divided.
Yep.
And to me, that's it's nonsensical, and it kind of brings us to like why we're even having the conversation tonight, because I want to get into in a little bit this whole concept of the dark horse candidate. Right now, this was an idea that was proposed by Brett Weinstein, kind of a little bit way too late in the election process for it to really matter and to take wheels.
I remember that. Everybody got excited over it, though. I remember that.
But I think that the idea there is a pretty sound one,
So you're thinking this time around that could work in 2024?
I think that, yes, it could work. But I think that we need to start that process now.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fact of the matter is I think that as a country, we're kind of going two ways, right? We've got this new thing out there, right? And it was the space that was created by Joe Rogan, right? It was this space where long form conversation entered into it, and people became hungry for it. They became hungry for those conversations that had nuance.
Right.
And from that process, we have the likes of Sagar and Jetty now, right. and Crystal on Breaking Points. Yep. We have new voices who have entered into the realm that was traditionally held by all these big companies like Fox and CNN and ABC and all this, right? Mm-hmm. But in reality now, Joe Rogan has a wider reach than all of them combined.
Correct.
Than all of them combined.
Correct.
Which means he's talking to a whole nother group of people than the ones that watch Fox News.
Yes.
Right? And MSNBC. And these people are also starting to listen to the likes of Lex Friedman and Russell Brand and Duncan Trussell and all these great thinkers of our time. Mm-hmm. And they're starting to see that we can have a different conversation. Right. So my theory is instead of, like, we don't need mainstream media. You know how Yang was censored during his presidential campaign? Mm-hmm. We don't need them anymore. That's just it. The sooner that we realize that we don't need those big companies, that there are other outlets who will cover the things that we want to see covered, it opens up this whole new world. Now, all of a sudden, right, you take all these influencers. You've got Dave Chappelle on your side. You've got all these different influencers who are on your side, right? And you've got all these people who are thinking in a different way. The Brett Weinsteins, the Joe Rogans, the people that I just mentioned, the Russell Brands, the people who believe that we need to inject more love into society, and the people who believe that things in Washington are screwed up and we do need something different. Mm-hmm. If all those voices would come together, right? And then you're talking to all their audiences instead of going to coffee houses in New Hampshire. You spend time going to all these podcasts, meeting with all these people, all these influencers. You get all these people from all these collective audiences to band together. Then you take your money that you raise from your campaign, right? And you start putting together, you start buying airtime, just nothing but airtime. Like, go ahead and start now and let everybody know that we are coming and we're bringing this whole new idea. And I think that if you did that, people would get behind it.
I mean, yes, I can see that scenario playing out. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think Yang's going to do that. What you're saying, I think, is a route that's somebody else would take, but I don't see Yang doing it.
But even if it's not Andrew, like, Andrew was just the torchbearer, right? He was the initial guy.
Right.
But it's Sagar's belief that it's going to be somebody like Andrew, somebody who has that same vision, that has that same progressive thought pattern, that's more worried about solutions. And if that person would be like, listen, get me in, this is what I'm running. These three things are what America cares about. They care about paying their bills, they care about feeding their kids, and whatever else, right? Democracy dollars. Let's say democracy dollars, because that one's going to be huge. And you say, you get me in, and this is what you're telling all these fan bases. You get me in, I'm going to get these things passed. And then I'm gone. I'm gone. You know why? Because the ball is already set into motion, and you're not going to be able to undo the things that I've done. And I think it's a very real possibility, because we're not living in a boomer age anymore. We are living in an age where we are all connected.
Yeah, the boomers got to go. The boomers got to go. They're so dead set in their ways. The red and blue, the my next video is about that. Like
too large. That's not all.
Not all boomers, but a large number of boomers. And again, it also ties into my next video. The red and blue sycophants. It's just, they got to go. And whoever, this candidate is that does the scenario that you described, they are going to be going against the news media as well. Both, the the CNNs and the Foxes and the MSNBCs. They're going to be going against print media. They're going to be going after this person who isn't. Yeah,
that's just it. Because the fact is, the people that you have in your corner, the real thought leaders of America nowadays, those people that I mentioned, they're gaining in number, and we're gaining in number. I'll put it like that because I'm one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
You have the potential to reach way more people than all of those people are reaching combined. That's just it. We win. We have the numbers. We just have to realize that we have the numbers and use the technology that we have that's available to us. We're better at the internet. Remember, that was one of Yang's things. I'm better at the internet than he is.
Yes.
That's our thing. We're better at the internet. And the internet reaches everybody in the United States, just about.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you're on 56K, it's getting to you. Even if you're on dial-up, it's getting to you. Okay. All right. So my next question would be, when do you see this scenario playing out? Do you think it's a 2024 thing? I see people in the comment section saying something about 2028. When do you think this scenario would be played out?
I don't know, but it needs to be sooner rather than later, because look at the shape of our country right now. Mm. Bro, this is not, it's so weird because I think back to like my childhood, right? And I grew up an 80s child, and I thought the 80s were great, but I didn't know anything. I didn't realize the corruption that was going on. I didn't realize, that civil rights had only recently made such great strides,
Mm-hmm.
But I think we see the problems now. I think we know the problems as a society. And I think that it's time to start addressing them. And the only way that we're going to start addressing them is to get the people who are in out and get the people who are like-minded in.
Yes, I agree. The people that are in there currently, they have to go. The Nancy Pelosi's have to go. The Mitch McConnells have to go. The Joe Bidens have to go. All those people, they gotta go. We've got 70-plus-year-old people telling you and me what to do, what's best for us. There's such a disconnect between them and us that there's a world's difference disconnect. They got to go. And we got to get, like you said, more like-minded people in there, or more youthful people in there, people that can relate to us. And it needs to happen, like you said, more sooner than later.
You think about this, man. Okay, like the boomer generation was my parents' generation, right? And this is something that I get into arguments with the boomer generation all the time, because I'll see them post stupid shit on Facebook, like, I didn't get a timeout. My mama told me time was up, and then she beat my ass.
Right.
Yeah, bro, that's child abuse. That's what that is. That's called child abuse.
Right.
I don't give a fuck what way you slice it. If your ideas have to be enforced with violence, then your ideas are worthless.
Right. Just because he went through it doesn't make it right.
Yes. You know what my mama made me do when I was young? She would fucking make me eat packs of cigarettes. That's what she would do. She would beat me with a fly swatter. That was her generation. That's what they did. That's the kind of shit that they were raised with.
Yep, that was okay to them.
How bad that fucks up your children? That's traumatizing. Right.
You hold on to that for the rest of your life. You hold on to that. You're 100% correct. You hold on to that.
That same generation that was telling us that we got to abuse our children is the same generation that's telling us that we're worthless and we better just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Motherfucker, you took the bootstraps out.
You took the bootstraps out. You're taking away Social Security. So by the time I'm 60-something fucking years old, there's nothing left. They're fucking everything up and telling us to be okay with it and proceed on with a smile. That's exactly what they're doing. Well, I went through it. I did it. Well, no, not really. Right? Time is very much different. And they gotta fucking go. That's why
and
I'm so big on term limits.
That's the thing. Most of the people up there, they come from that old school of beliefs, the same school of beliefs that was telling us that we needed to hate each other because you're black and because I'm white. That's the same generation.
And they still hold on to that. They're still holding on to that. And it might be a little bit more quiet about it, but they're holding on to it and they show it in their actions.
It makes me so damn mad, dude. It makes me so mad.
They're still holding on to it. I had a guy, and I kid you not, here's my hand to God. I kid you not, Russell, 2 days ago, literally told me I was one of the good ones.
The good ones what? The good ones what?
At work, told me I'm one of the good ones. And he thought he was being like he was being genuine. Right?
And that's because we oh gosh, we're kind of, we especially older people, they think that they're being nice, and they're it's like, bro, you just fucking smacked me with a fucking gloved hand. That wasn't a compliment, but they're so disconnected sometimes.
There were other customers in there. This lady was going through some shirts. He said it. She was like, she was like, what the fuck? And I honestly, I didn't get mad. I didn't get upset about it. I looked at his age, and I was like, "Yep, I understand. I understand. I get it. I get it." And he didn't mean any harm, and he was very genuine about it. I had a guy that worked for me. His name was Harry, and he said Harry's got to be 69 at this point. Harry said he didn't see his first African-American person until he was 9 years old, and he thought he was made out of chocolate. I kid you not. He was 9, so damn near almost 10. It was his first time seeing a black person. He never saw a black person before in his life.
I mean, but like, you think about this though, Ronnie. Put yourself in the mind of a child. Mm-hmm. I would have probably thought you were made out of chocolate too. You look like a big chocolate too. I mean, kids don't think about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? To them, they've seen a chocolate bunny, and then all of a sudden, this chocolate person comes up and they're like, "Damn, that motherfucker looks good."
I mean, so that's why I can't get mad at like things like that, like when he's like, "You're one of the good ones," because that's just how he was brought up. He raised, and I'm not going to be able to convince him that what he said was bad. Otherwise, he legitimately wouldn't get it. He wouldn't get it. But again, these people, these older generations, not all of them are bad. I got to keep putting that out there. I sound like Trump right now. Not all of them are bad. I'm sure there's some good ones.
You sound just like them.
I'm sure there's some good ones.
You're just ageless. You're not racist. You're ageless. We all got our flaws, man.
But they can't be running this shit. They got to pass the torch. They got to. They have to. They got to. Term limits, please. Term limits.
I'm of yes and I'm of no.
How long has Nancy Pelosi been doing this shit? How long 50 years?
Since 1776, I think, when we threw off the. It's been around a while, man.
Wait,
man, she just made $60 million in the last couple of years. I mean, she must be doing something right.
There's no way she's going to relate to my struggles. No way. No way. No way. Biden doesn't remember half the shit he said. They can literally show him footage of him trying to take away Social Security. He's like, "Listen, Jack, that wasn't me. It wasn't me. Listen, pal, that wasn't me." Like, what? Like, it's just they got it.
So let me ask you about what do you have you heard about the UAPs?
No, enlighten me.
The unidentified aerial phenomenon that people are like you're laughing, right?
No, because you reminded me of the hill, the what used to be the hill, what you want to call it now. It's Jesus. I think their biggest video they've had to date was about UFOs because the hill went to shit, absolute shit. And now you're saying that, and it's making me think of the Hill video.
Well, the reason that I even bring it up is because there are people who, like Commander David Fravor, who are people that are extremely credible, that work for the military, you know, and they're coming out and they're saying, well, listen, we don't know what these things are that can go from 80,000 feet to sea level in 3 seconds. Like, what is that? You know, do you think that that's another country's technology? Do you think that, what do you think? Because this is, it's obviously real because they've gotten footage of it. Like, this is not, and they talk about how these things will fly over nuclear power plants all the time, and they don't know what they are.
Well, what country could have beaten us to our military budget? If you were to even cut it in half, we'd still have the biggest military budget in the world. Let me rephrase that. If we cut our military budget in half, 50% of it gone, we still have the biggest military budget in the world. So who the fuck beat us? There was a time when there was an arms race, Russia, Germany, the US, but as of now, we're it. I mean, obviously China, Japan, etc. They're right, we're neck and neck with a couple of them, but I would love to know which one beat us to the.
Well, to that point, just because we allocate a lot of money for things in this country doesn't necessarily mean it gets spent well. You know,
right, that's true.
But that's true. I take your point. You know, even if you cut our military budget in half, we're still supposedly leading the race.
Right.
So, what is it then?
Well, you know, John says the tech could be private. That's absolutely true. Now, is it alien tech? Well, here's always been my theory. I don't know if aliens have visited the world, right? I was about to say the United States, the world. I don't know if aliens have visited the world, but I do believe in extraterrestrial life form. Why? Because in the infinite, ever-expanding universe and with all the different galaxies, I think it's really full. We're really full of ourselves. We'd be really there's so much hubris to be had of us. We're saying, yeah, we're the only sentient life forms in the ever expanding galaxy. No, it's almost mathematically impossible and very improbable that we are it. Humans and whatever else is on Earth is it. There is no other intelligent life forms in the ever expanding galaxy. So, do aliens exist? I think so. Have they been here? That I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it seems pretty obvious if they're flying over our nuclear bases. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just want to be a believer, you know. But it seems to me like it would be very presumptuous of us to think that we are the only intelligent life.
Exactly.
And I'm kind of the mindset that, like, okay, if you were going to travel long distances, right? How would you do it? Would you actually do it physically, or would you send like some type of drone technology?
Well, we send the 10 drones in before we do anything, so I would assume they would send drones in as well. But here I am, a measly little human, putting on to extraterrestrial creatures what they wouldn't do.
Right.
But I know, right? How am I? I don't know. They might not think anything like how we think. But I know we put drones in, whether it's to the ocean, whether it's into caves, new explorations. We send in little drones and our robots to check it out and scope it out first. Like Jessica said, we'll make great pets. I don't know. We're really stubborn and assholes. I don't know if we'll make great pets.
That's the truth. Have you ever watched the show Colony? That shit ain't popping up there.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll make great pets.
Yeah, look, but that's just it, though, right? Okay, so imagine yourself that you are this advanced society, this advanced civilization that can actually get to other planets that have existing life, right? Mm-hmm. So it would stand to reason that because you're so advanced, you probably don't think like we do with our small little monkey brains, right?
Correct.
You're probably way more intelligent than we are.
Right. Maybe even fifth dimensional.
So one, our technology is not going to work on you. Mm-hmm. Your science is going to be so advanced that to us, it would appear as magic. Mm-hmm. So why would you want to interact with us? We're just going to try to chew your leg off or something,
Or be like ants. Like, I think, was it Neil deGrasse Tyson? I think it might have been him that said it. Like, when you step on a bug or when you step on an ant, do you even second guess it? It gets out of your whole 24-hour day. That bug you stepped on gets a fleeting thought. Oh, I stepped on this shit. And you keep it going. A fleeting moment caught in your 24 in your ever busy life, right?
That's where me and you have to part ways. Because I'm that guy who has evolved to the point that when I kill a bug, it is very traumatic. I don't like seeing it. It almost makes me cry because a life has been lost. That is where I'm at. I literally, if I see a bug in the house, I catch it and I put it outside. I don't care what kind of bug it is. Like, to me, I've gotten to this point where I just realized that it's always better if no matter what the species, no matter what it is, if we all just try to help each other out. You know what I'm saying? That bug doesn't know, but that bug may go on to, I don't know, procreate and take over a corner of the earth that I don't like. So, I mean, I may have just ensured, something spectacular happens by saving that one bug.
Well, listen, I'm not exactly on that boat. I don't hate all insects, right? Spiders, I'm actually really fine with. I'm cool with spiders. I draw the line at centipedes and millipedes, those little fast moving.
But they don't even bother you.
They bother the fuck out of me, so they gotta go. A spider, I'll leave. I don't care about.
You are 1,000 times bigger than a centipede. How is it gonna bother you?
They bother. Have you ever seen a giant centipede?
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers. Okay, I'm one of those motherfuckers that watch that shit on YouTube. Giant centipedes. And then I'm like, a little centipede. I can't stand those little fuckers. But spiders don't bother me. Most flying insects don't bother me. It's really just the centipedes. If they paid rent.
I'm glad that we can have these longer conversations because when we do, I get to dig into who you are as a person a little bit. And I get to see you for the flawed individual that you really are.
Now, what if no more videos came out? You're like, oh, what happened to Read My Lips? You look up news in Connecticut, man devoured by centipedes. You're going to feel fucking horrible. Like, oh, what a vicious attack.
If that were to happen, because I am an ordained minister, I would come and I would do your funeral for you, and I wouldn't charge.
Like, what a way to go. But no, you know what? I respect it. I respect that you value all life and you put them outside. And so I try to do the same thing. Again, I'm admitting on air, I don't do it with the centipedes. But again, spiders I don't have a problem with. It started with ladybugs. My mom was like, don't hurt the ladybugs. And I would put the ladybugs outside. And I just started doing that with most insects. So that's, I respect that. Okay. Is there any insect, animal, creature that you just don't fuck with that you're like, nope, get rid of it? Or is it all life?
Wombats, I think that they're inherently evil creatures. They will fucking chew your toes off while you're sleeping at night if you're not careful. So make sure that before you guys go to bed tonight, that you set wombat traps around your bed to keep those little bastards away.
Wombat.
No, I mean, I'm kind of that live and let live person. I say that and I'm such a fuck because then I'll go in there and I'll cook myself a steak. But, well, that's a double standard,
No, because you're eating it. You're not wasting it. You're using it for sustenance to survive. Whatever creature that was, if it was out in the wilderness, the chances are at some point, most likely, it's going to be somebody's food.
It's going to be a circle of life, man. It's a circle of life.
So as long as you're cooking that steak and eating it, exactly. As long as you're cooking that steak and eating it, then it is okay. And as long as that animal wasn't abused and was treated properly and taken care of.
But they're not. That's just it. Anything that you buy out of a grocery store has not been treated well. It's been farmed at a huge ass farm.
Right.
It's lived its whole life in misery. It died in misery. And it's very sad. And I kind of want to get to like the Joe Rogan point where, I'll go out and I'll hunt and I'll kill a big buck and that'll feed my family for a year. That's the kind of living that I kind of think that we need to get to, because then there is a balance. Right. The fact is, we have to eat cows because if we don't eat cows, they're going to be overrun. We're going to be overrun with cows. We're going to be overrun with chickens. We got somebody got to eat them. Might as well be me.
Right.
But the issue that I have is with the factory farms. That's the issue I have.
Think Beyond said something that I'm very intrigued with because it's not the first time I've had this conversation. Cloned meat. Would you eat it? The cringe face. Cloned meat. That steak you got? 100%
I haven't yet because I live in Vermont and we have a lot of cows in Vermont. And I don't know, cloned meat. That's kind of tough, right? The clone meat might not be tough, but it's tough to like force yourself to eat. But I don't know what they're doing to that meat, man.
Man, I went to go visit my mother. I was talking to my mother, and she was right. Like the chickens what the fuck are they feeding these chickens? The chickens look like they fucking bench press. Like my mom was making chicken, and that shit, it's got the packs. That shit, I'm like, what the fuck chicken is this? This chicken lift. The chicken lips, like, nah, I don't know what, like you said, I don't know what they're putting in some of this food. Like, I don't want anything like industrial size that didn't come, like, that's not naturally that way. It's fucking crazy.
When you want to order wings and you get fucking foghorn leghorn brought to your table, it's crazy. The hormones and all the stuff that they're shooting into these animals to make them grow faster. They can grow a chicken from a baby to ready to go to market in a matter of weeks.
Yeah. Which is another form of abuse. That chicken's got to be like, what the it's literally like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm feeling rusty.
Dad, you're going to eat me.
This morning and look at this shit.
You think you're going to clone me?
Let's get to the chopper. No, not that chopper, the other chopper. Wrong chopper.
Oh, Jesus. Wrong chopper. Oh, man. I mean, in theory, and like people are saying in the comment section, in theory, I do think cloning meat would actually be incredibly helpful to people in general. I just have to get past the idea of eating something cloned. Maybe not tell people, but then there's liability things. I think you got to kind of tell people it's cloned. You got to put it on the packaging somewhere, I'm sure.
So then you get into this whole, now you got to label your package non-GMO, non-cloned, factory grown.
Yeah. You're gonna go in there with the missus. You're gonna go into the grocery store. You're gonna see somebody standing in the meat department. They're gonna
that cultivated steak looks delectable.
Yeah, they're gonna be holding. Do I want the clone?
Karen, get that one.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I will do a cloned meat YouTube, all about cloned meat. 1 million subscribers.
Then that's what's crazy about it, right? If you pop pimples or something, you're going to get millions of subscribers on YouTube.
Man, you talk about politics, Good luck. Yeah, if I talk about cloned meat, I'd hit a mill. Russell, if tomorrow I made from scratch a cloned meat YouTube and I just did nothing but talking about meat and I brought my camera into Stop and Shop and Walmarts and all these Whole Foods and I was just talking about cloned meat, I'd hit 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
100%.
For sure.
Percent.
Because you're talking about shit that actually matters to society.
They're like, I don't like this. Get this out of here.
I can't hear this shit. Can't hear it. Oh my God, stop talking about politics. But that's just it, right? That's the mindset of a lot of people out there nowadays because their voice is not being heard.
Right. Well,
so what happens when you give those people a voice all of a sudden?
So hold on. Scott Stanton's is going to be on Yang Speaks. Did you see that?
Mañana.
Yes, he you know, I consider him OG Yang Gang 100%. So he's gonna be on there. So next up is you or me. What's happening? Like how we gotta everybody tweet at Yang, Read My Lips, and Grassroots Yang Gang. The R&R needs to be on Yang Speaks. What's popping? Everybody here, tweet that at Yang. R&R, that's Read My Lips, and Grassroots Yang Gang need to be on Yang Speaks. What's popping? Everybody here.
Somebody said when I make a point, I take my hat off. That's true because I get real, man. I got to get close to the camera. And if I get close with my hat on, my bill will start.
Oh, man. And that's probably the last thing I'll say about clone meat. But you ever saw those old commercials where it'd be like Pepsi, Coke, and I don't know, some other thing, and they'd the blind taste test, and they'd be like, try this, and they'd be like, okay, well, what do you think this was? And they'd be like, oh, that was Coke, and that was Pepsi, like in the blind taste test, and they'll show them in the commercial, and they'll be like, oh, people couldn't tell the difference between ours and Coke. Do that with the clone meat.
You put a blindfold on me and put them two sodas in front of me, and I guarantee you I can tell the difference. Pepsi is so fucking nasty, man. Gross as fuck. You drink it, and then like I ain't got hardly any teeth now, right? And when I drink Pepsi, like I can feel them rotting. Yeah, I mean it's just crazy. That stuff is
definitely more sugary. It tastes more sugary. Definitely.
That's like saying that somebody could put blindfold me and put Miracle Whip in front of me and then put Duke's mayonnaise in front of me and me not know which one Duke's mayonnaise is. Come on, man. I'm from the South. I know what the hell Duke's mayonnaise tastes like. You know, get that shit out of here.
Let's do this with cloned food. This is the best way. Do it clone food. Okay, Rachel, sit down. Put the blindfold on Rachel. Put the regular chicken there, the clone chicken there, the regular steak there, the clone steak there. Have her try it and take the blindfold off and guess which one is which. God damn it, I just made another YouTube channel.
Yeah, but I think they quit doing Fear Factor a long time ago, man.
They did. Joe Rogan was having people eat cow balls and shit. That shit was going to come to an end fairly soon. They actually had a lot of seasons, actually. Like, they were doing crazy shit at the end. I was like, what? How much? And it wasn't even for like a lot of money. It was like $50,000 and shit like that. $100,000 tops. I'm like, nah.
You heard which episode got them canceled, right?
Was it the semen?
Yeah, it was like donkey semen or something.
Yeah. And motherfucker drank the shit too.
Oh God! So.
You got to drink it.
Bring out the helmets.
Is it regular semen or clone semen? Drink up.
Oh my God!
Fucking
Rogan. Like the you've got to be a broke ass motherfucker to do some shit like that, and there's people who'll do it for I mean
100K, 100K. Who in this comment section for 100K?
I don't want to do this, man, but I mean, this don't mean I'm gay.
For 100K. Well, that just goes to show people need money.
God, in the worst way.
We need money. Anybody willing to do that shit we need money.
Yeah, because you see motherfuckers who will be like, man, I'll do that shit for $50, bro. I'll do that shit for a blunt or two.
Jesus, we need money. Oh my God. It's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. And we need change quick. I wish, and not like I can change anything on my own, right? But I think as a collective, everybody else, boys, Trumper for Yang, everybody else putting their voice out there. And if we just had more eyes on us, I swear say it's not me, say I don't sway anybody's opinion. Okay. They leave my channel, they go to yours. Maybe Russell's might sway them. Okay, let's say Russell doesn't sway them. They go to Trumper for Yang. Trumper for Yang might sway them. I just wish we had more eyes on our channels and I know YouTube is pushing with the algorithm, it's pushing us down, but I swear to God we can change more people's minds, because the amount of people that don't know what the fuck is going on out here is insane.
It is, but and we appreciate all the people who are watching right now for sharing these videos out. And I know sometimes it gets to be tedious and a task for the viewers of the channel to share it out. But quite frankly, it's the only way that we get our message out there is for everybody to share these videos out. Because I think we have real conversations. I don't, yeah, we fuck around a little bit and we talk about a lot of dumb shit, but that's what we're supposed to do. That makes it entertaining. But when you get right down to the things that we do discuss on our channels, it's very real and it affects a lot of people's lives.
100%.
I just saw Jacqueline Holman was on Twitter, and she was somebody that I had on very early on our channel, and she was a sex trafficking victim, and she's on disability. She has no income, but man, she's a whiz when it comes to like buying and selling stocks, right? But she doesn't have any money to buy and sell stocks with, or that's what she would do, because every time she gets a little nest egg built up and she builds her stocks up a little bit, something comes up and she has to sell them. She has to have insulin, or she has to have medicine for her husband, and all these things. And you hear these stories and they're so tragic, and it's like, why can't we help these people? I understand that parents are getting a small little form of UBI right now,
right?
And I think that's a direct result of all of our actions, all of us pushing towards this one goal.
Correct.
There are over 3 million signatures now on the petition to make $2,000 a month reoccurring stimulus checks.
Mm-hmm.
People need it, because what's happening is these companies are trying to force their workers back for the same wages that they were making before. And the people who, they're like, wait a second. I've had this time off from COVID. I've reassessed my value system. And you know what? Take that and run with it, because you're not gonna extort me anymore. For people who think that slavery went away, it did not go away. It just changed faces.
No, slavery is still here, baby. Slavery didn't go away. Like you said, it just changed faces. It just put makeup on the pig. It's still there. It's still there. And I understand why a lot of people do not want to go back to work. What did we say? Well, in my last video, I was talking about the child tax credits, right? And how, analysts were saying, both Democratic and Republican were saying, once people got a taste of this, you're not going to be able to draw it back. You're not going to be able to just do this 1 year and be like, okay, we're done. No, this is going to become a norm, right? This is what all the analysts are saying. So people got a taste of what halfway decent money was during the pandemic and with the unemployment, and they've never got that kind of money before in their life, right? So now that's right. And so now you want them to come back and work for pennies on the dollar, and they're not going to. Why would they? Because they know what it tastes like to get something else, to get a little bit more, right? And I know it's nuanced. I know not every company can pay people more, etc. And we can get to the breakdown. But I do know for a fact more companies than not can pay their employees more and can afford to give them a slightly better living. But again, like I said, it's real nuanced, and nobody's going to want to give that up. They're just not.
No, and we have to start thinking differently, and we have to start now, because like we talked about last week, you know, automation doesn't get sick, robots don't get sick, and that's what I saw a tweet by Marianne Williamson, and she was talking about, you know, people and work and all this stuff, and my mindset is COVID only hastened that scenario forward. It moved that window forward, and companies, it only makes sense for them to spend that money to automate the jobs away.
Right.
Because I don't have to worry about John calling in sick because he's got fucking COVID or thinks he's got a little sniffle, and I'm a boss, and you know how bosses are. Bosses are dicks. You know,
I'm a dick.
They don't care whether you're sick or not. They don't care whether you you think you got a cold. Well, you know what? You can probably come into work, and we'll see how you feel. And the only reason they do it is for their bottom line. And people are fed up with being treated that way.
Absolutely. If my employees are sick, I tell them to stay home. I don't want you to get me sick, and I don't want you to get the customers sick. And B, you know, I want you to get better. And C, it's not like you're going to be any good here or productive here if you are sick. You're better off to be home and feeling better. But you're right. Corporate bosses, they don't give a fuck. They wish we were machines, and they are absolutely going to spend the money to get automation in place versus people, because it's just makes more sense for them, and it makes more sense overall in a lot of cases. I'm not gonna bullshit, but we still need to be treated fairly.
The problem is these companies that are making these robots and stuff are usually very big companies, right? Mm-hmm. And these very big companies aren't being regulated by the government. They're not being taxed the way they're supposed to. They're not being the government. All the fucking boomers that are up there in Washington, they don't know what's going on. They can barely fucking check their email. If you're asking Mark Zuckerberg why your campaign email letters are getting sent to your spam filter, then you obviously have no grasp on technology whatsoever.
Right.
These are the questions that you're asking Mark Zuckerberg when you have him in front of you?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Out of all the things you can ask Mark Zuckerberg,
how dumb can you be?
They got to go. It's funny how we circled right back around to the boomers. They got to go. They got to go. But who? I mean, man, who? I don't know of any potential people right now for 2024. I mean, people are saying Yang's over with. I think he's got one more shot. I think he's got one more shot. Because Sanders ain't running. A lot of ain't nobody running. He's got one more shot.
Here's the thing, right? What's going to happen in 2024? Well, Joe Biden's going to be the incumbent if he's still around, right? Mm-hmm. And if he is still around, it's like I heard Crystal talking about. If they can prop him up, like Weekend at Bernie style, just put sunglasses on him and wobble him around, and just let him be the president again. That's what they're going to push. Mm-hmm. So what that means, right, is that Andrew has to go in, and Andrew has to say, listen, and he has to do it the way I said. If he would do it the way I said and start targeting all these podcasts who have influences that are far greater than mainstream media, combined, go to those outlets, start talking to those people, spend your time there. You carve out, you look at the Democrats and you say, you know what? Y'all ain't popping on shit. And the Republicans are going to be like, yeah, see, Andrew's over there talking shit about the Democrats now. And Andrew needs to look at the Republicans and he says, yeah, you know what? Y'all ain't worth shit either.
Exactly.
And I'm coming to take both of y'all's lunch money. I'm coming to take all y'all's shit. I'm bringing my crew, this whole new group of thought leaders that, like I was talking about, the Weinsteins of the world, the Russell Brands of the world, the Joe Rogans of the world. I'm taking all these thought leaders and I'm bringing a fucking army of voters behind me, and I'm running as an independent, and I'm coming to take the White House. And if you do it like that, you win, because people will become inspired for change. People want change in this country.
He's got to get away from the people that were running his mayoral campaign immediately. Drop them like a bad habit. Get away from them. They were giving you the worst advice ever. And do exactly what Russell just said. Do you remember when Joe Rogan gave his not so endorsement, and like for like 3 or 4 days, like the media went nuts. They went nuts. That's
because his word carries weight.
A lot of sway.
His word carries weight, and you can't cancel him, because the fact is, when you actually spend time to watch a couple of his podcasts, you'll see it immediately what he's about. He's about love, bro. He is not about no dumb shit. He's about caring for people, and he sees the corruption that goes on in Washington, and he knows that's why he always promotes people like Cristobal and Sagar and Kyle Kalinske, these other voices that people are listening to, right? They've got vast audiences, man. We can do this if we do it. We just got to harness the technology. That's all we got to do. We harness the technology, we win.
Right. Yeah. I 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, I'm for it. And I think, man, just Russell, be ready. 2024 is going to be busy as fuck for us. 2023, end of 2023, 2024, when Yang says that he's running again, it's going to be busy. We're going to be busy. We're going to be busy as fuck.
I hope so, but I mean, I'm already busy. I've got my book coming out this fall.
What's that name again? Let them know the name.
It's tentatively titled "The Monster Underneath Your Bed." That's me. I'm the wombat that's chewing on your toes in the middle of the night. And it's like if you read like just the first chapter will absolutely have you hooked, because the first chapter, I started out and not to give too much away, but I back in my wilder days, I was on the run from the law enforcement in North Carolina, and I ran to Oklahoma. Okay. And while I was out there, I was witness to some crazy shit that went on. And this shit involves a conspiracy that dates back to the 1970s. That's the kind of shit that I stumbled on out there. So it's a pretty incredible story, and it will detail the events of it goes from there and then goes into 9/11 and what happened on that day, because not just the planes hit the tower on that day, y'all. There was a lot of stuff that went down that day. So it's going to be an incredible book, and hopefully I'm going to get it finished up. It's kind of hard because people don't realize, right? When you write a story that's about your life, and you're writing about the sections that were extremely painful to you, it's like you have to relive those moments each time that you rewrite them. And it's like, it's fucking painful, bro. I literally have had to stop for days at a time because I would touch that pain and it would be so real again. And it would be so painful that I'd close the computer and I just couldn't. I'd be overwhelmed, man. I just felt it all over again.
Man, this book, listen, so you're going to have that in there? Is the Run DMC story going to be in there?
The Run DMC story is going to be in there. Y'all missed that. It was on last week's episode.
You got to go watch it. We ain't talking about it. We ain't going to talk about it.
It's on Ronnie's channel. So make sure you go check it out after he hijacked my live stream. But hopefully I kind of want to finish up on, I don't know if you've been following what I've been doing as far as this whole Tiger King stuff.
Well, I was at work, but I saw you tag me in it. So I retweeted it because I couldn't watch it because I was at work. But explain to me what's going on. From the look of it, it looked like you were going to interview the Tiger King, but I don't think that was the case, right?
Well, that's ultimately one of the end goals.
Okay.
A reporter who had interviewed us during the Andrew Yang campaign, who follows me on Twitter, tweeted out the other night, who wants to interview Joe Exotic? Well, me, I'm a fan of the show, right?
Yep.
Have you ever seen the show?
Oh, I've watched the whole series, yes.
Okay. So you know the craziness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Carol Baskins, all that.
So, just tongue in cheek, I kind of retweeted her out, and I was like, I would love to have that interview because I'm a big fan, and I've been on this side of the law, and I know what they do. I know their tactics. I know how they like to trap people. Mm-hmm. And the next morning, I woke up, and she was in my inbox on my Twitter DMs. And she said that I would love to see you interview Joe Exotic because I know that you want to get to the truth. And she said, do you want the information that I have? And I said, yes, absolutely. So she sent me Joe Exotic's information. What? She sent me all the court documents up to this point, including his appeal. His appeals attorney is an hour from me here in Vermont.
Okay.
So I have access to him now. And I have all the information, and I've spent probably the past week going through all the court documents, and it's pretty incredible. I mean, to the point where I believe Joe when he says that he did not ask for that initial dude to go down there and to kill Carol Baskins. I believe that was part of the Fed's whole thing. Guy. Now, let me ask you this, Ronnie. Now, I'm a convicted felon, right?
Yep.
Now, I'm talking about going down, and I'm talking about killing somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Why would I make the comment, well, listen, Joe, I'm a convicted felon, so I don't think that I should have a gun to go kill Carol Baskins. I'll probably just cut her head off. Right. Like, what? You're talking about going and cutting somebody's head off, but you won't pick up a gun and shoot them? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, I remember that part of this in the series, and the entire time I'm like, this seems like a setup. Something doesn't seem right. Just watching it from the outside looking in, like, say what you want about Joe Exotic, but I'm like, I'm not buying this. And then the guy he did. That's what absolutely did. 100%. That's why I said, say what you want about Joe Exotic. That's fine. But in this particular scenario, I don't think he did. I don't think that's how it went down. I don't think he paid that guy to go kill Carol Baskins. That didn't go and do it. That he just changed his mind last minute and started doing whatever the fuck. It just smelled like a setup. Right?
Okay, so that's what. Now you know how the feds work, right? Mm-hmm. They want to make this whole big story. So they got this guy claiming that he's going to go down there and cut Carol Baskins' head off.
Yep.
So guess what they do? The feds go out to the property. They dig up the tigers that Joe Exotic had put down, right? Well, when they dig them up, they don't just dig up the whole bodies. They dig them up. They cut their heads off with reciprocating saws and carry the severed heads in front of the jurors
to make it look that much worse.
All the while that this guy is claiming that he was going to go down there and cut her head off. Are you kidding me right now? I'm not saying that he didn't do a lot of bad shit. He absolutely did, and he probably deserves to spend some time in prison.
Exactly.
But the dude does not deserve to be spending 17 and a half to 21 years in prison.
The guy that set him up, the swindler, I can't remember his name now, he deserves some time in prison too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the one that ended up getting his park and stuff like that. He deserves some fucking time too.
How much credibility do the feds really have? Think about it.
Right.
They're literally setting up young Muslim kids and claiming that they're going to go blow something up. And the kid is like, well, I got to go ask my mom. What? And this is the guy that you convicted? They're creating boogeyman.
Yeah.
And then they're busting the boogeyman after they create him.
This goes back to us to people trusting or not trusting, rather, the government. Swings right back around to it. They're out doing all this shit, but we're just supposed to believe them wholeheartedly. Come on, man. You just said it yourself. Look what you just said that they've been doing, and we're just supposed to just trust them.
Yeah. And unfortunately, if you look back through history, most of the targeting has been done to minority communities.
Absolutely.
Where do you think that they do all those tests on? Where do you think the CIA conducts tests on? It's minority communities, bruh.
Absolutely. Tuskegee experiments. Remember that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, they do that.
Ronnie, I've got $100 for you that you could win if you just go down and get this vaccination. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. Just get the vaccination, baby. You'll be fine.
And then once everybody's got the vaccination, then I just don't know why they're pushing it so hard.
Like even on my YouTube, I'm getting like different ads when I make something that's like only about the vaccination. It's really weird. It's almost Twilight Zone-ish. It's really weird. And like they're almost like trying to bribe you into it. It's just say like, oh, vaccinations are good to get rid of coronavirus. No, they're doing like all sorts of like cartoony, experimental, like
Have you ever seen that movie? It's a kids movie, and I don't think you have kids, do you?
No.
Okay, so you may not have seen it, but it's a great movie. It's called Coraline Jones. It's called Coraline. Anyway, this little girl.
Oh, I've seen Coraline.
So she escapes her parents, for those who don't know, and she goes into this almost like an upside down world. And she walks in and she sees her other mother, the mother with the button eyes. Really, really fucking creepy.
This whole movie is creepy.
Government is like right now. It's almost like we went from having the government to the other mother, you know, and it's like this cold, creepy, dark version that's like staring at us and being like, hey, you just gotta take this. Just take this, Coraline.
Yep. Bobby's saying tread carefully when talking about the vax. You might be right. YouTube don't like that shit.
Well, we kind of hope for super chats to come in during these live streams so that we don't have to worry about being demonetized. Because that's unfortunately a tactic that YouTube likes to take. If they don't like what you're talking about, they will demonetize your channel, and you don't get any money for it.
And you know what? It doesn't even matter how big the channel is. I've seen them demonetize some big ass channels, and they give no explanation.
They've hit Joe Rogan many times. That's why he moved to Spotify.
Yeah. YouTube. Boyce in the house. What's going on, Boyce? They're saying at some point R&R should do a trickle up segment.
Well,
can you, you and Boyce? Holy shit.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like I kind of agree with that, but the fact is, Boyce has been like slow rolling me on one of those trickle up hats for like 4 weeks now. So until I get my trickle up hat, no, it ain't happening.
You know what? I'm putting my foot down. God damn it, I want a hat too. No, that's 2 hats. You would have been fine. You would have been out. You would have been good if you'd have just gave Russell his hat.
But now you gotta come up with
2 hats.
Anybody else want one? Does anybody else want a trickle up hat?
Anybody in the chat want a trickle up hat?
Boyce is gonna wake up with an order form for 50 hats, and he's gonna be like, "Fuck, dude, it's just like $30 a piece." I told him I would. That's just it, right? I said, "Boyce, I'll pay you for my hat." Oh, I got you. And still, we haven't heard how high no. Look, Vaughn, thank you so much for that super sticker. We appreciate it very much. Thank you for that. Vaughn is always here. Vaughn is on your channel too all the time.
He's on my channel. So much support. And honestly, we don't get a lot of bread for this. So this is for the love of you guys. Like the fact that you guys come back and you guys participate and you talk to us and you give us your opinions. That's what keeps me going. And obviously, I want shit to change. That's what keeps me going.
It's crazy because you look at. I went over our metrics, and over the past like month, right?
Yep.
You look up in that little thing that you earn.
Yep.
You know what it says on mine? How much does yours say that you earned? this month?
33.
33. Well, you've
33.
earned more than I have this month. Ours only says like $7. But that's what happens. The people cared about this channel when Andrew Yang was running. And then you got a lot of views and but after he's suspended, I think a lot of hope went out of people.
It did.
And they
it 100%
stopped following politics because there wasn't any reason.
Imagine those people who weren't into politics before. They're like, oh, I'm not getting into politics. It's gross. And then Andrew Yang comes along and gave them hope and inspiration. And then he lost and had to crush them. A lot of people were saying, you know what? I was better off just not getting involved. There's a lot of people that said that.
It crushed me.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember that time. We had a segment right after. It was you and I had a segment the second day, and that shit was sad, bro. That was really sad.
Jeremy Salmons has super chatted and wants to know: have you heard about the Frito-Lay workers? And many are forced to work up to 5 months straight without a day off. Some driven to suicide. I have heard about that.
Yes, I was actually working on a video a little bit here and there about that. Aren't they protesting though? They're protesting. The last I checked, they stopped working.
Yeah, but I mean, to think about the conditions that these poor workers are being forced to work in, and it's not just Frito-Lay.
Right.
It's Amazon. It's all of these big companies, and Amazon doing their whole thing where they're tracking each one of your movements just to see. And then if you are the least little bit late, they can fire you through an app. Nobody even has to talk to you. The app fires you. I'm
not gonna say who because I don't, slander is a thing, libel is a thing. I'm not gonna say any names, but there's somebody really, really close to me. Could be family, maybe not, that worked for Amazon for a couple months. And the amount of people he or she saw that got fired and the way they were treated was incredible. So at the time, a lot of people would carpool because they worked the late shift. So they'd go in, I think 6 p.m. and they'd get out 6 a.m. Sometimes they get out earlier, like 2 or 3, depending on circumstances, but they would carpool. And sometimes people would just get fired. And so when they fired you, they would already have a Lyft or an Uber waiting outside for you. So you'd go to work, not thinking anything. They'd call you up. They'd call you up to the office. You go up to the office, and then they joked, you never came back down. Because they don't let you come back down to the people. Like, you don't get to go past, like, your friends and all those people. No, you go out the back way. They let you out the back, and you wait for the Uber that they pre-called for you. It's, like, ruthless.
You think that's ruthless, man? I mean, yeah, that is ruthless. But I've got a story to beat that one. When this is one of the other stories in my book. Is when I was at work, the cops actually showed up. A deputy and a detective showed up at my work, and it's crazy, right? Because when you're a poor person, you basically work anywhere that you can get a job, right?
Right. Yes.
And the cops had already cost me one job. They just cost me a job by coming into my work, and they had called the day before and they wanted me to come and turn myself in. And I'm like, nah, not happening. You motherfuckers are not tricking me. Because I know if I come down there, I'm not leaving.
Right. Yep. They got you.
So I'm at work the next day at Subway, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm making sandwiches, and a lot of shit happened that day. I won't get into it, but the line got long, and I heard the door ding, and I glanced up to see how many people were coming in, and it was just 2. It was a detective and a sheriff's officer, and they walked straight up to the front of the counter. They were like, "Mr. Peterson, we need you to come out from behind the counter. You are under arrest." I'm like, "Bro, I'm working." I'm like, "Can I finish my work? I'm working here. You should be making sandwiches. I'm fucking making sandwiches. Slapping salami on the counter. I'm making sandwiches." And they didn't care. So they arrested me in front of all those people and marched me out in handcuffs in front of all those people. So while it's shitty to get fired and have to have an Uber take you home, when a police car takes you to the sheriff's department and that is your new home for a while, it really sucks.
These motherfuckers called you and said, come turn yourself in. You said, psych.
Well, I mean, I got the call when I was at work. And
you were at work when you got the call.
I was at work. And I just gotten this job. You know, I'm sitting here struggling just to make ends meet. And, you know, you've already cost me one job.
Right.
And now you're about to cost me another because I pissed off the wrong detective in my hometown. And that was that. There was no coming back from that. And, you know, when you are a cop in a cop-filled town, they're all your buddies.
Correct.
You know, and I didn't stand a chance. And it really sucks.
You're not going to get past that blue wall?
No. And that's kind of what gives me this, you know, that's what makes me take such a hard stance on this whole Joe Exotic case. Because I know how bad the state wanted him. I know how bad they had a hard on for this dude.
For years.
For years, they wanted to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
And so when they got their opportunity to burn him, that's exactly what they did. So we are probably going to wrap this up. We are about an hour and 20 minutes into this.
And that's what usually we do, hour and a half. That's what we did the last one, hour and a half, hour 20. That's what we're going to do.
But see, there's a reason for that, Ronnie. And do you want to know what the reason for that is?
Because I'm a boomer.
You're a boomer. And you want to fucking start these casts at like 8 o'clock at night.
I also have a video I'm going to be working on. Literally, when we hang up, I'm working on a video. The video will probably be out tonight. A lot of y'all might be asleep, depending on where you're at. But like probably around 2 a.m. the video will be uploaded. So,
but I'm asking why we got to start these at 8 o'clock. You know I like to drink. And look, that's why. Listen, here's stuff. That's why I had to go get a koozie today. Because we're all thinking the same thing. I just said it. I figured it fit.
So people keep asking, is R&R going to be a weekly thing? And the answer is 3 weeks out of a month, we're going to do R&R. That other week, I'm probably going to be on the Trickle Up. So one of the weeks I'll be on the Trickle Up. The other 3 weeks is R&R. So every Sunday, you will see the Bearded Wonder at some point.
I think it's a good thing. I think people like our perspective because I think we speak for a lot of people. You know, what people don't understand is it's not. It's so weird because the way the media wants to cast it is that it's me against you, Ronnie. That's the way that the media wants to spin it. That's the way that the government wants to spin it. It's me against you. Correct. No, it ain't. It ain't. Me and you are on the same side.
Yeah.
It's us against them.
It's us against them.
It's the poor people versus the elite. And it's always been that way. It's always been that way. Look at any story of oppression. It's always the people with something that have power over the people with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really time. This is the age of Aquarius. We have just entered into this age of awakening. And I feel like we need to accelerate that awakening. And to bring it full circle before we get out of here, this is where I think that the new thought leaders, the Joe Rogans, the Russell Brands, the people who have influence and care enough about the world to take responsibility for this world, those are the people who are going to end up winning. We are going to end up winning. There's no way that we can't, because we come to a realization that there are more of us than there are of them.
Yep.
And we ultimately hold the power.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There you have it, Yang Gang.
What a good way to win. Well, that's a good way to end it, brother. That's a good way to end it.
We love y'all, Yang Gang. Make sure you tune into Ronnie's channel, Read My Lips Podcast.
Please.
We'll make sure to put the links in the description. We are going to try to do this 3 weeks out of the month.
Yep.
Or as Ronnie likes to put it, 3 Sundays a week.
You weren't supposed to say it. I retweeted it.
Look, you can tell Ronnie runs on black people time. We're going to do it 3 Sundays a week.
Exposing me. Wow.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, bro.
We'll see y'all on the next one, Yang Gang.
Peace,
Y'all
man.
take care of yourself. Love somebody this week, y'all. Just love somebody. That's all you gotta do.